Couple seconds. A minute or two. Yeah, we'll start. All right. Commissioner Honor, if you may lead us.
Father, we come to you this hour asking for your care as we gather safely together. In honor of the brave souls who made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom, may Memorial Day be filled with reflection and appreciation for our heroes. May their courage inspire us to live with purpose and gratitude. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
These proceedings are being recorded for the sole purpose of preparing accurate written minutes. Recordings are overwritten following approval of the minutes, eliminating all unofficial records of these proceedings. Your first item is the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting held May 16th, 2024.
Motion approved.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes. Are there any guests here concerning county business? Hearing none.
Next item is a resolution, Mock Chunk Lake Park 50th anniversary. We need a motion to adopt resolution number 2024-017.
Motion to adopt resolution. Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes. Would you like to read the resolution?
I will. Whereas the Mock Chunk Lake Park was dedicated on August 27, 1974, following completion of the flood control phase in May of 1972, which was just 1 month prior to the arrival of Hurricane Agnes. Ground was broken to start construction of the dam in June of 1969. Built under the Watershed Protection and Flood Prevention Act, the Mock Chunk Creek Watershed Project, as it was known, earned National Watershed of the Year recognition in 1978 through the National Watershed Congress. The project was a cooperative effort among the federal, state, and local governments and received funding and support from the Carbon County Commissioners, Jim Thorpe Borough Council, Summit Hill Borough Council, the U.S. Soil Conservation Service, U.S. Forestry Service, U.S. Department of Agriculture, Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission, and the Carbon County Conservation District. And whereas in 1974, the park originally consisted of 2 boat launches, a picnic area, and a waterfront beach and swimming area. Over the years, the park has expanded to include 3 picnic pavilions, volleyball courts, a tent camping area that also includes 15 camping cottages, a group camping area, a fully accessible fishing pier, environmental education center, and approximately 20 miles of trails to include the historic Switchback Trail, which was designated as a component of the National Trails System on November 28, 1980, by the United States Department of the Interior. The park encompasses roughly 3,700 acres and boasts an abundance of wildlife with a 350-acre lake that is extremely popular for recreational boating and fishing. It is one of only a few county parks in the state to provide such amenities. And whereas the park has become a popular summer vacation destination for many families and for 50 years has provided year-round quality recreational opportunities for visitors, including swimming, picnicking, camping, hiking, biking, boating, fishing, and hunting. The park exceeds over 100,000 visitors annually. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the members of the Board of Commissioners of Carbon County hereby recognize the 50th anniversary of Mock Chunk Lake Park and extend their congratulations on this joyous celebration. Adopted by the Carbon County Board of Commissioners this 23rd day of May 2024.
With us today is Dave Loreth. He's obviously in charge of the park. Dave, would you like to present this on behalf of all the commissioners?
That's right.
Rocky wants to get your good side. He always
I want to get in the middle because they always crop me on it.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations, 50 years. You've been the director how long now?
24 years.
24 years.
51.
Thank you. Any comments? Yes, go ahead.
Well, I'd first like to thank, first and foremost, the, the visitors, the park visitors that have been with us over the years. Those long-term, that have camped with us or purchased seasonal passes, memberships for over 20 years. So without the visitors, the park wouldn't be where it is today. And then, secondly, I would like to, thank the county administrations, past and current administrations, for their support of the park, recognizing the value of the park and the importance from a tourism and economic standpoint. During my tenure, I can go back to I think it was 2003, where the county commissioners saw the opportunity to extend modern sewer to the park facilities. And then most recently, through the acquisition of some property across from the main entrance of the park, forest land that they purchased to preserve the natural resources surrounding the park. Beach parking lots, that was a recent example of of the county administration's support, where they used funding from the parking fund to pave beach parking lots. And also most recently, the bathrooms, Boat Launch B, paving improvements and restrooms, which was also, funded through a grant with the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission. So, we can't forget about the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission also. The lake is owned, by the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission. The dam itself is owned and operated by the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission. And the county has a operations and maintenance agreement with the Fish and Boat Commission, for the park. So it's always been kind of a unique partnership with the state agencies and going back to the beginning with federal agencies as well. And then last but not least, the park employees for all they do, both past and present employees, including our board, the Parks and Recreation Commission, for all they do. Just to keep it a family-friendly park, that's what it's about. Our maintenance guys do a wonderful job keeping the park clean, maintaining the park, rangers with security, office staffs, lifeguards. So, lastly, the park employees I would like to thank as well.
Any questions for Dave?
Yeah, actually, you mentioned the park's importance from a tourism and economic standpoint. I was wondering if you could maybe talk about why you think it is important.
Well, it's absolutely important. As the resolution mentions, the park draws over 100,000 visitors annually. Those visitors, sometimes maybe in the morning, they go on a rafting trip or skirmish, and then in the afternoon visit the park, and then they, visit the shops, restaurants in downtown Jim Thorpe. Some of them maybe expand beyond Jim Thorpe. So just, drawing the tourists to the park, and then in return, they support our local businesses, small businesses.
Perfect, that's all I have, thank you.
Good question. How's the staffing up there? We had a group that went up there last year, and we weren't allowed to go into the water, and it was within the hours of the park.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we seem to be in much better shape this year. I know last year it was almost like a complete rebuild of the lifeguard staff. Now with the Department of Health regulations, you have to have so many lifeguards on hand in order to, open the swimming area. So there was times where maybe we had to shut down a swimming section.
do you need lifeguards up there?
Not currently, no. We're in better shape, much better shape this year than we were last year. So we do have a full complement of lifeguards. All the lifeguards from last year are returning again this year for this season. So, we're in much better shape with lifeguards. But for a few years there was a bit of a struggle, and I think that's something that not only with our park, but with swimming pools, you see it on the news all the time about how lifeguards are there's a shortage of lifeguards, and whether that's the cost of the training or the fact that they need to obtain clearances, or a combination of that. Now the county did increase the hourly rates for the lifeguards, and also they get paid a little bit more for working weekends and time and a half for holidays. So the county commissioners did provide, you know, a little bit more incentive, you know, for, you know, lifeguards to apply, you know, for somebody to be interested in being a lifeguard, because it is a somewhat of a big upfront, you know, expense for them. And the county also agreed to reimburse them. There's a reimbursement policy
For the training?
for they'll get reimbursed 50% for the first year, and then the other 50% the following year, you know, for their training, for their certification.
Okay,
Does it open this weekend and then stay open for the summer?
Yes, the swimming area will open on you know, May 25th, this Saturday, and Smokey the Bear will be there Sunday from 11 to 3 to help us kick off the season, and then the swimming area will run until Labor Day. Now the camping area opened back in April, but the swimming area, yes, you know, opens starting this Saturday. 11 to 7 is the swimming hours, and the park hours are 10 to 8. As far as the 50th anniversary, we're trying to just, you know, promote that as much as we can, get the word out to people that it is the 50th anniversary. Kind of hoping that if somebody hasn't been there in a long time, you know, might be interested in coming back and paying us a visit, see what we, you know, what we have to offer. I know when I started as park director, I was blown away as to how far the park came over the years. You know, based on what I remembered of the park during my childhood years, it was really as the resolution points out, it was you had the waterfront area, 2 bathhouses, a picnic area, and 2 boat launches. And you know, I live 4 miles away in Summit Hill, and when I started as park director in 2000, I was just shocked. I was stunned. I knew there was camping, but I didn't really realize the extent of the camping. There's 135 campsites, there's 15 camping cottages, there's group sites. The bathhouses that I remembered, you know, as a child visiting the beach, they were gone. They were replaced with a first aid station for the lifeguards, and also a beach pavilion, which is very popular in the summertime. So just to see the changes and the improvements that were made over the years, and that continue. Again, we're hoping to use this 50th anniversary as kind of like a reawakening. Back in 1980, there was roughly 900, I think, and 7 members. Back in the park's heyday, when there was a lot of buzz and excitement surrounding the park when it was new. And you know, we're hoping to use this 50th anniversary to kind of, you know, recreate that. You know, again, those that haven't been there for many years, for a long time, you know, come back and pay the park a visit, as well as you know, new residents. We have a lot of new residents in Carbon County that, you know, may have never been to the park before. This opportunity for them to come and check out the park and see what we have to offer.
Are you guys doing anything special for the anniversary this year? Like, throughout the summer?
Yeah, there is talks of a movie, like a movie night on the beach. You know, we're gonna try it, see how it works for three, preferably Saturdays. 1 Saturday in June, 1 in July, and 1 in August. I don't really have the specifics on that yet. We're kind of in the planning phases with that, but that was one thing that, you know, that was talked about that we're planning for.
And is there anything different with the park this year, or same as usual?
It's just the same as usual, you know, the same as usual with the swimming area, beach area, you know, the camping. Trails are popular for, you know, for hiking and biking, as well as the boat launches. The boat launches are becoming more and more popular. I know Boat Launch A. Boat Launch A is probably filled to capacity on weekends if the weather cooperates by 11 o'clock. You know, you probably won't find a parking spot there. Now there is another boat launch on the west end of the lake, Boat Launch B, that I had mentioned before, where we made paving improvements and restroom improvements. So you know, they would be able to go down to the other boat launch. As far as admissions, now we did talk about July 4th as being the day where we would have like limited access, you know, to the park, because July 4th seems to be the day every year where we're hit with large crowds, especially when Beltsville closes. And, you know, it's almost guaranteed that, you know, they'll close, you know, early that day, earlier than normal. So in order to avoid the overcrowding on the holiday, this is July 4th, it's gonna be limited access to the park for county residents, those that have season memberships with us. If you're camping with us, if you have a camping reservation, you know, those individuals will be entitled to use the swimming in the beach area. And also, you know, pavilion guests. If somebody has a pavilion rented, you know, their guests will be able to come into the park for their pavilion rental. So there will be limited access on July 4th, the holiday.
That's all.
Okay,
Can the beach be open without lifeguards? Can people swim without lifeguards?
No, unfortunately not.
That was the only clarification I wanted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so
thank you.
in conjunction with the 50th anniversary, we have a request from the Parks Director for authorization to host Moonlight Movie Nights at Mock Chunk Lake Park. Swank Motion Pictures public performance license for 200 individuals or less at $475 to $550, 200 to 500 individuals, $725 to $835 per movie event. 3+ movies, $395 per title, movie rental $30 per title, and Moonlight Movies, a 30-foot moon screen package, cost of $1,449 per showing.
Motion approved.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Okay, our next item is our coroner, Mark Smith. He's going to give us a quarterly report.
Mark, you wanna come up front here?
Jason, why don't you join me?
You can have a seat, Mark, if you want.
Okay. So, what we felt was important,
Do you wanna bring another chair up? Or you can put the microphone on it if you want.
what we felt was important was to, since the transition of the coroner's office has taken place at the beginning of the year, was to keep you updated on what we found and what we've been doing and just kind of give you an idea of what we deal with. So we broke this down, and we're not gonna take too much of your time, I promise, but we broke this down into two parts. I'm gonna have my chief deputy, Jason Smith, which I'm sure you all know, which has been a tremendous help to me. If I have a question or I need something done, I go to Jason and he's right there for me. But, so Jason is gonna go over a few of the stats initially that we've encountered for the first quarter of the year. And then I'm gonna follow up with some of the things that we have implemented, some of the things we've done, and some of the things that we probably should be looking at doing in the future. So without any further, I'll let Jason take the reins on for the first quarter.
So I just wanted to provide you guys with a bit of a mission statement of what the coroner's office is. So the Carbon County Coroner's Office delivers services to the citizens and those who die within the county of Carbon, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The Carbon County Coroner's Office is an independent investigative agency staffed by highly trained personnel whose function is to investigate the facts and circumstances surrounding a death over which the coroner has jurisdiction and to determine the cause and manner of death. Death scene investigations include natural deaths, accidents, suicides, homicides, as well as deaths due to neglect, abuse, terrorism, fire, arson, industrial accidents, and mass disaster. The investigations and ruling of the Carbon County Coroner's Office concerning criminal acts or criminal neglect or those that affect public health and safety are the foundation for follow-up actions by other investigative agencies. So we're going to go into just some real basic statistics for Q1 of 2024. So the first thing that you guys are seeing on the screen there is Randox technology. So for Q1, there was a total of 8 Randox testings done. So Randox is a qualitative analysis of drug overdoses. So it doesn't tell us that there was X drug at X amount of milligrams. In the decedent, it tells us that there was X drug that was found on that Randox testing. What that does is it allows us, if there is not going to be any follow-up from the police departments to do any type of delivery charges, it allows us to forego a full autopsy. It's telling us at that point the person died of a drug overdose, and it's saving the county about $1,100 every time we have one of those drug overdoses. So we have partnered with Lehigh County Coroner's Office and Forensic Center. So if we do have a drug overdose in Carbon County, we'll follow up with the police. If they don't believe there's going to be delivery charges at that point, we'll have the decedent transferred down to Lehigh County. They'll do the Randox at about $100 a case, and we're getting results back within 90 minutes if it's during the day. If this is something that occurs on the weekend, we have to wait until Monday until a supervisor at Lehigh can run the Randox testing. But for the most part, we're getting results back in about 72 hours at that point for family members to kind of get some closure going for them already. The next thing you're seeing there is autopsies. So for Q1, we have done 9 autopsies. That just means that we weren't able to determine the cause and manner of death, and that's the role of the coroner's office to make that determination. So if after reviewing medical records and speaking with family physicians, we weren't able to make the determination, we did schedule an autopsy. And then of course you always have those pendings where we're waiting for those autopsies to come back, or we're waiting for toxicology to confirm things. We did have, under those jurisdictionals, we did have 1 homicide in Q1. We had 2 suicides in Q1. We've had multiple accidents. I'll give that to you in just 1 second. Just getting through my. We've had 5 accidents in Q1, and then our naturals obviously is primarily what we're investigating. In January we had 12 naturals. In February we had 9 naturals, and in March we had 14 natural deaths. So we can go to the next slide. Non-jurisdictionals are a referral, so those are cases that are called into our office from a hospital. If a death occurs within 24 hours of being admitted, they have to be reported to the coroner's office. And those are also deaths that are a hospice death. So the representing facility that is taking care of that patient who's on hospice still has to report the death to us. What we're looking at for those referrals for the for Q1 of 2024, in January we conducted 31 referral investigations, 35 for February, and 22 for March. A referral death could turn into an investigative death. So we may get a phone call for a referral, but then during the questioning process they tell us that the decedent suffered a fall. Well, because there's trauma now involved, a physician can't sign that death certificate, so now that turns into a coroner's case, we respond out. And it just may be a very basic investigation, but it still turns into an investigative case. Like I said before, we did have 1 homicide, and that was by knife. That was in March. We did have suicide in January, and then we did have 2 suicides in March. And this is just a breakdown of the manner of death of the accident. Like I did explain to you guys earlier, I gave you those numbers. We can move on to the next one. So what does this look like for numbers? For Q1, we've conducted, and this is our jurisdictionals, so our investigative cases and our referrals. For Q1, we've done 228 cases. I believe I can speak safely for Mark. When we came into this in January, we weren't really sure what to expect case-wise for the coroner's office, and that's pretty busy, I believe, for Carbon County. Again, a lot of those are referrals, but we don't look at a referral and an investigative case any different. You're still doing questioning, you're still talking to physicians and the nurses, and at some points family members. So there is some time that goes into a referral case. So 228 for Q1 is a pretty good number. So the state of the office, currently we do have 7 staff. We have Mark as the coroner, myself as your chief deputy coroner, and then we have 5 part-time investigators. We are staffing 24/7, and our goal is to have a shoot time of under 1 hour from the time of request. And that's to get anywhere within the county. And I believe we're hitting that mark pretty well. We've gotten a lot of good compliments from fire, EMS, and police departments. Mark?
So, what else goes on as far as duties and responsibilities of the coroner's office? Just going through these things quickly. The EDRS is the system in which we complete our death certificates and sign them electronically. From there, they go on to the funeral home for completion. Nothing else can happen until we get that paperwork submitted to the state. As Jason said, doctors can only sign naturals. Anything accidental or any other manner of death must be signed off by our office. So we take great pride when we put our signature on there representing the county that we actually have factual information before we actually sign that certificate. We do sign pending certificates, which means we have to go back at a later time and go back into the system, update the death certificate, notify the funeral home, notify the family, so they can get updated copies. We work with the state on the drug death reports. So every drug death report that we encounter gets reported to the State Department of Health. They have a division that handles all those statistics. It includes all the patient information along with the toxicology reports. And we get paid a sum of $5,000 twice a year for submitting those reports. We should have a check coming in, if it hasn't already been deposited electronically, for that first $5,000 for this year. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, sudden unexplained infant deaths, we've dealt with one of these and they're not fun. We have a what's called a SUDI form, which stands for sudden unexplained infant death, and it's about 10 to 11 pages in length, including diagrams, interviews, reenactments, you name it. It's not a fun experience. Carbon Pike and Monroe, the center that has been working on mental health and the suicide aspect. I met with a representative from them, had a long meeting, long conversation. So we are reporting incidents to them on all of our suicides and also the toxicology on those suicides, trying to get down to the bottom of, are those having an impact on the person deciding to take their own life. And the formation of a child death review team. This is something that's long overdue. Fortunately, we don't see a lot of these, but we want to make sure that these numbers get reflected not only statewide but nationwide, so statistical analysis can be made of these things. It'll also help with the formulation of bringing all the interagencies together that deal with the children and youth.
What are the ages, up to what age for child death review?
They actually consider a child death anything under the age of 20. So we have, to the best of my knowledge, only one so far this year under that in that age group. I don't think the accident was even under that age, but anything under the age of 20 must be submitted and must be reviewed. So as Jason alluded to, we have dramatically improved our response times in people waiting for our arrival on the scene. We do that through our on-call system. Right now, we have a great bunch of people that are voluntarily committing themselves to being available for the county, which may or may not happen. I don't know. I think if we look at this realistically, I think that's something that probably won't last forever, but we talk about that at a later time. We establish professional working relationships. We have interacted with law enforcement, the DA's office on numerous occasions already. I've sat in on meetings on some cases that are pending charges. So we become an integral part of that. The working relationship with Lehigh County, they have reached out to us in the Randox technology. so we get those accurate results back in time, and it saves the county a lot of money. So if we get so instead of spending the $2,500 on a standard autopsy, we're spending $100 on these cases that we pretty much know what it's going to come back as, but we just need to be verified. Their Randox technology is something that is spreading across the state. There's more counties looking at this. Philadelphia County was just up, visited their site, and they're looking strongly at going towards the Randox technology as well. Pathologists don't like it because it takes business away from them, but I guess they have an understanding of that. As I said, when I was actually looking to take this position, one of the other things I wanted to accomplish was getting into our schools, dealing with our youth. We've broken the ice with that. I did some presentations at Lehighton High School before their prom night. They had an assembly and they invited me out so that I could talk to their health and wellness classes before the assembly on making good decisions and what some of the consequences of bad decisions are. So we broke the ice with that. I hope that spreads countywide. I hope some other people will take advantage of things that we can offer them. We've just acquired this past week our order for our new portable radios, enhancing the safety to our deputies that are going out in the field and doing these calls. We have received tremendous support from our communications center. They've worked with us in notifications and status tracking and that kind of thing, which all improves our safety and efficiency when it comes time to make the reports. Things we still need to do. We're in the process, as you know, of getting our new office set up. It's not something we want to rush through, but we want to get it. We would like to see it done, but we just want to make sure that we do it in the right way so that we're not redoing things in a year from now. Gaining access to Epic, we've just been so busy. There are some things that I wish were done already that haven't been done. Epic is the database that both major networks, Lehigh Valley, St. Luke's, and even Geisinger uses. It's a great investigative tool for us to be able to access those patient records in our investigations and trying to streamline the process of getting death certificates signed off and actually looking at what the patient's history was. And we just want to improve our staff. So we want to provide educational opportunities. I'm a big person for education. If you're not moving forward, you're standing still, in my opinion. So we'd like to keep educating our people, getting them more basic and more advanced training as we go down the line. So we are very grateful for the support that we've received. I would like to close with one recommendation. So what I would like to recommend is we've noted a lot of antiquated practices that probably were okay back in the 70s, in the 80s, and that quite frankly just aren't efficient anymore. We believe we need to sit down with you folks as a governing body, anybody from outside agencies that you would like to invite in, handling everything from payroll to equipment to policies and functioning. We really need to look at this department and this office as a whole and see how we can prepare for the future. The longer we go without actually making some strides for the future, I think the bigger hole we dig ourselves, and it's going to be tougher to get out of. This is a very time-consuming job. I'll be honest, I wasn't quite anticipating it being as time-consuming as it turned out to be, but it's very time-consuming. There were two of us working the train incident the other night, just to give you an idea. Two of us together were on that and doing follow-up investigation at the residence, notifying the family for 6 hours. So right there's 12 hours of man hours just on the scene of an investigation, and we didn't even start the paperwork yet. So just to give you an idea of that, we need to supply you with people that are capable and motivated. We have that right now, but we need to continue that, and we look to add more quality people as time goes on that can provide standby coverage. And we just want to make sure that they have a safe working environment to work in, and give them the tools that they need to do the job. In closing, I don't think I would be appropriate for me not to mention that we are very appreciative. Everybody from the commissioners down to emergency management, down to communications, down to the finance office, everybody has been so helpful, and we are so appreciative of that, and we just hope we can keep the line of communication open. With that, I'll open it up if anybody has any questions. If not, hope you'll accept this as our first quarter report, and we'll provide you any information in the future that you deem appropriate.
Well, the only thing I'd like to add is, first of all, I mean, I haven't been here in the past, obviously, it's like yourself, but I do thank you for taking the time to come in and give us an update, because I don't know if that has ever been done, but I think that's a huge step, if it hasn't, in the right direction, and I'm sure that all the taxpayers and everybody involved is very thankful to hear that update, because to get that, I mean, I am, it really opens my eyes on some issues, so I thank you for that. I haven't heard anything negative about the coroner's office, so that's all good. So we thank you for all you're doing in your staff. And on your second point, Mark, you mentioned about I would welcome a sit-down meeting in any way that we can help continue to move your department forward. So whenever Ellie can find the time on our schedules, everybody's busy, we definitely would welcome.
That's actually the first thing we need is an extra day in the week.
Yes.
I'm not sure if you can provide that or not.
And I do think it should be done early, as soon as, when we can get to it, because a lot of, from what I'm seeing, is obviously budgetary items and where we're gonna grow in the future with that. And that needs to be addressed earlier on rather than at the end of the year when we're all trying to, so that the sooner we can begin working on those items, the better off I think we'll all be, rather than trying to get it all done in 60 days at the end of the year. So, but I do thank you for time, and your office and your staff has done an outstanding job so far. And thank you, and we look forward to your, well, I shouldn't say it that way, I guess. I'm privileged to see your second quarter report as it comes in, because I don't always like to see a death report.
Right.
It's not a highlight of my day, but it is.
No.
But it is a service that obviously needs to be provided, so, but I thank you.
Yeah, I do want to point one thing out. Most people may not realize that the coroner's office is not a full-time job, part-time position. Mark is a full-time flight medic with Medevac. This is a part-time job and probably full-time hours, if not more. And I know Jason has really stepped up to the plate as well with being a first deputy and not getting a huge salary for the amount of time they put in. So I appreciate we never had a report to this extent. I know being out there in the street with a lot of the emergency responders, I have not heard any complaints. They are happy about the response time in particular. It's not good when you have police, fire, EMS, all sitting on highway maybe or wherever it is, waiting for a coroner to show up, and that was one of the biggest complaints that we have heard in the past. So I know it's not always possible to get in there within an hour, maybe because of the location, who's on call, et cetera, who's available, but I know from the responder standpoint, it's greatly appreciated by those responders.
Yeah, one of the changes we made January 1st was, in prior years, it was a phone tree. So if a request came in, they would call until they got somebody available. We actually do scheduling now. So we'll request availability from all the deputies, and I'll create the schedule for the following month. And they know they're on call. Some of them will actually take a 24 or a 36-hour shift because we are a slower county. Majority of them are 12-hour shifts, so we'll switch at 6. And they know that they're on call, they're first out, and then we'll have second up and that sort of thing. So that's how we're able to do under 1-hour response times.
And Jason is also a full-time employee for Eastern EMS Council in Allentown.
So we've been able to work with the communication center as well. That schedule is built into their system. So there's no more middleman. They call directly to the person on call.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you for your time, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes?
Our next item is the report of executive sessions held.
There was one held on May 22nd at 2 PM in the evening, in the afternoon, and it was in reference to real estate.
Next item is the department reports, the budget transfers.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes,
There are no supplemental appropriations. Expenditures, approval of payroll check numbers 75856 through 75870, and direct deposit check numbers 6064723 through 6065161 for the payroll paid through the payroll fund checking account for all county funds totaling $694,216.19. This is the payroll dated May 17th, 2024.
Motion to ratify.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
yes,
Approval of check numbers 243-827 through 243-953 for expenditures to the general fund clearing account totaling $461,680.72.
Motion to ratify, or motion to approve.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
yes,
The treasurer's report.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
yes,
The personnel report for county departments.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
yes,
The acknowledgements for courts and row offices.
Motion to acknowledge.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
yes,
There is no correspondence received. Boards and Authorities, Children and Youth Advisory Board. For acceptance, a letter was received from Jenny Yoho Miller submitting her resignation from the Carbon County Children and Youth Advisory Board effective May 14th, 2024.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
yes,
A reappointment, 3-year term to expire May 1, 2027, and daughter of Jim Flirt, Pennsylvania.
Motion to reappoint.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
yes,
The Open Space Advisory Board reappointment, a 3-year term to expire May 31st, 2027, Ian Farrell of Palmerton, Pennsylvania.
Motion to reappoint.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
yes,
The Redevelopment Authority reappointment, 5-year term to expire May 5th, 2029. Michael Barron, Beaver Meadows, Pennsylvania.
Motion to reappoint.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
yes,
Children and Youth for approval and execution. Fiscal year 2024-2025 purchase of service agreement submitted for United Children's Homes of West Hazelton, Pennsylvania, as per the attached rates.
Motion to approve next week.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
yes,
Courts for approval and execution. The Pennsylvania Rule of Judicial Administration 701A and Act 37 of 2007, Senior Judge Chambers and Support Staff application for senior judge reimbursable costs incurred while on assignment in calendar year 2023, totaling $1,134.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
yes,
Computer information for approval and execution, a 3-year service agreement with Penn Teledata for internet access via cable modem at a monthly recurring fee of $72.95 and an IP block at a monthly recurring fee of $20. Totaling monthly recurring fee of $92.95, which is an increase of $20 monthly.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
yes,
Emergency Operations and Training Center, appointments to the Board of Directors. Now, you gentlemen, would you like to do this all in one motion
Yes.
or just one?
Yes.
Motion to do it all at once.
Okay. So the Carbon County Firemen's Association recommendation, a 4-year term, John McArdle, Nesquehoning Hose Company Number 1. 2-year term, Bruce Berger, Arbitsville Fire Company. Carbon County Police Chiefs Association recommendations. 4-year term, Timothy Cromer, Palmerton Police Department. 2-year term, Daniel Ziegler, Carbon County Sheriff. Lehighton Ambulance Association. 3-year term, Matt Rook, Lehighton Ambulance. 1 Carbon County Commissioner or appointed county official recommendation, 3-year term, Wayne Notstein, Carbon County Commissioner, and permanent board member, the Carbon County Emergency Management Coordinator.
I'll second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes, on all the above except the commissioner appointment, I abstain.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Okay. Farmland Preservation for approval. Proposals submitted by Arthur A. Swallow Associates LLC of Allentown, Pennsylvania for survey services at Louisa Steel Farm, Mahoning Township, Luke Miller Graver, D. Miller Boyle, D. Miller Graver, D. Wentz and S. Kaiser Farm, Franklin Township, Dennis and Deanna Kunfer Farm, East Penn Township, John and Janet Dagenhart Farm, Packer Township, and William and Carol Eckert Farm, Towmensing and Lower Towmensing Townships. Total estimate not to exceed $55,036, which includes the 5% discount for the 5 farms.
Motion approved.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Title search services for approval. Proposals submitted by Carbon Search and Settlement Services of Lehighton, Pennsylvania for title search services at Louisa Steel Farm, Mahoning Township, Luke Miller Graver, D. Miller Boyle, D. Miller Graver, D. Wentz, and S. Kaiser Farm, Franklin Township, Dennis and Deanna Kunfer Farm, East Penn Township, John and Janet Dagenhart Farm, Packer Township, William and Carol Eckert Farm, Towmensing and Lower Towmensing Township. Total estimate not to exceed $13,913.25.
Motion approved.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
The solicitors report.
Thank you. For the courthouse renovation project, seeking a motion for approval and execution of change orders numbers 2 through 5 to the contract with GR Noto Electrical Construction of Clark Summit, Pennsylvania, per the attached list. The contract total remains the same at $1,072,500.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
And lastly, seeking a motion to adopt Resolution 24-018, recognizing Polka Joe Manjack of Tamaqua, Pennsylvania, for 50 years of radio broadcasting service to the Cole region and surrounding areas.
Motion to adopt the resolution.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes. You're okay.
Read it?
No, okay.
All right, nothing further.
Any further business? Hearing none, commissioners' reports. Mr. Honor?
None at this time.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes, just mentioned the memorial program that we have in the park tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And the other issue of great concern to me, and should be to our local elected officials and fire in particular, there's a proposal, Senate Bill 1179, requiring the all first responders that enter a burning building to obtain firefighter 1 certification. And in that bill, it makes the fire chief, whether it's paid or volunteer, if someone goes into a burning building, they allow that. There is a $1,000 fine and possible imprisonment. Now, my concern is, if you're at a large fire scene, you got mutual aid departments, et cetera, and even in your own department, although you have accountability CAD tags and safety officers, a lot of times these people sneak in and unbeknownst to the incident commander or the chief. And I'm concerned that this is gonna cause people to refuse doing that job anymore. This just came out recently, just on May 16th. I know I sit on the Emergency Management Committee for the County Commissioners Association, and we have a meeting coming up, a virtual meeting for our annual conference on our priorities, and I'm sure we're gonna discuss this bill. A little appalling that our elected officials, we're gonna have an elected officials day on June 1st, training center, and we got very few local elected officials, borough councils and supervisors, officials. We got more county employees or just about elected officials from the county that are participating in the program, and almost as many as all the municipalities. You know, I just wanna remind the boroughs in the townships that they are required by law in the borough code in chapter 8, and as well as second class and first class township codes, chapter 53, and state law on, they are responsible for their emergency services and providing emergency services. Unfortunately, those laws don't state to what extent. But it's an opportunity to really highlight what our responders do, the cost of the equipment. And we're gonna, in this program, we're gonna do a live fire burn this year. We have, I think, enough for 3 groups this year instead of 2. Those that participated last year thought it was very informative and had no idea what our responders do. There will be a police demonstration with the EMS on active shooter and extraction of the victims in an active shooter scenario and critique. I think they're doing the felony car stop again as well. We'll be doing live burns. Last time, we're still working on the program, not finalized yet, but last year we had the participants, all 16 took part and pulled the hose line, got to operate a fire nozzle. They all climbed the ladder. They all got to tour the burn facility, the burn rooms, and the tower, which is 60 foot, 4 stories plus the roof for rescue. So planning some other things. So there still are openings for local elected officials, zoning officer, borough managers, township managers, etc. So just contact myself or the emergency management office. So that's all I have today.
Mr. Sifranco?
3 things. One is the Mock Chunk Lake Park. I've been fortunate to be out to their meetings, and I think today when they presented the part of their 50th anniversary, it should be really commended that they're looking to do stuff with families out at the lake. And I thank our fellow Board of Commissioners here in supporting that movie night, and I'm very hopeful that everything works out well for them and they're able to do that. But I think it's a great way to give back to the county and to the residents in the county and those there, especially the families, that they can come there and enjoy a movie at the night. And I know they have a lot of other activities planned to go on that night, but I do want to commend the board for the foresight in that. The other one is, I know that late on the schedule here, or actually on the agenda, you may have all mentioned that, or seen that the renovations at the courthouse, there were some change orders and all that. But I would like to thank all those involved, courthouse staff and everyone sitting at this table. We've been up and down the hills the last couple of months, moving stuff around, change orders, making decisions, and we've been very fortunate so far to stay on schedule. And most importantly, for the taxpayer, we've been able to keep that within the guidelines of where the contract is. We're working hard to continue that. It's been 5 months so far, so hopefully we can keep that, but I'll knock on wood on that one, because you never know what tomorrow holds. But I do that. And finally, this weekend we'll be celebrating Memorial Day. I wish everyone a happy and safe and an enjoyable Memorial Day weekend, but I ask you all just remember what Memorial Day is all about. So, and with that, I have nothing further. Anything else? Meeting adjourned. All right, I guess we'll start here in the front. Good morning.
I'd like a copy of the resolution for Eddie Rojo.
Okay.
Do we know what the cost on the movies is going to be? Is there a cost for people going to see them?
It's all up in the air.
No.
Yeah,
know.
So it flops.
I think there's no idea what the cost may be to attend a movie, or if there is gonna be a cost. And I know they're planning on trying to revolve everything around the number 50, so.
When is the elected officials training?
The elected officials, June 1st, 9 a.m. to 12.
I think that is all I have.
Well, nothing for Bob. Thank you, to the back.
Okay, so I was wondering if maybe you guys could talk about what value the Mock Chunk Lake Park brings to the county. Just in a general, doesn't have to be super specific.
I don't think, are you looking for a financial value? I don't think you can put a value on financially how much Mock Chunk Lake Park brings. I think the value it brings is the enjoyment of people who visit here, but also the residents here of enjoying the outdoors and be able to get together and camp and fish and hike and walk the trails and just get together as a community. That's a value that you can't measure in financial. Now, if you want to value a property value, I can tell you that when they built the dam, a lot gets forgotten about, but had that dam not have been built, we probably would have lost most of West Broadway and Broadway by now in Jim Thorpe Borough here because of the amount of flooding. So that the catastrophic value of personal loss, it has added to that. As far as the borough and the county, I just think it's, like I said, I think it's something that everybody in the county can be very proud of. And the fact that we have a board out there that volunteers their time to oversee that and give recommendations back to the Board of Commissioners, with the commissioners making very good decisions over the course of the last 50 years, it just shows the value of everyone working together, and you can get something good.
And well, do you guys think it does bring tourism to the community, or is it more beneficial for locals?
Definitely, a lot of those people that camp there come down here and they'll rent bikes, they'll do the trails, they'll do the rafting, they'll go to the local restaurants, you know, how many, I know a lot. The camp stores, for one thing, and the concession stand at the lake, at the swimming area, the boating area, they're not full-time people, but it is jobs, and it, you know, does bring in, I don't know what the salary range would be, or what would be paid out, or what it brings into those different entities. But I know the concession stand does pretty good, boat rentals do pretty good, and they pay a fee to the county as well to be able to operate there. But they're also employing part-time people, summer help, etc. So it does help in the employment as well.
This is kind of random, but does Carbon County have a Liberty tree, or one planted or being
No,
delivered?
they asked us about that before, and I don't know if you,
Well, a little bit on, we did not have an answer before, and I did find out this past weekend down in Weissport, they had a Heritage Day, or a Living History Day, and we are going to be receiving a Liberty tree. It will be planted in Weissport, obviously because of the fort and the ties to Benjamin Franklin. So the information and dates and times and all that will be released when Weissport Borough Council receives, official notification of all of that. But yes, there will be one planted in the park in Weissport.
Is that happening like several months from now, or in like the next couple weeks? Do we have?
I would probably tell you within the next, I'm not gonna say, because if I say I've learned that here. If I say it's gonna happen in 24 hours, it's usually 24 days. But what I think is gonna happen, so I'm not gonna give that until I would have the information from them, but thank you.
And then, my last thing, is there any update with Tent City, where it stands right now?
Well, thanks, guys. Where we are with
That's why you get the big bucks.
so you get the big bucks. Yes. Where we are with Tent City is there has been a dumpster put down there, has been put put down there for the last week or two. The final residents, or I shouldn't say residents, the final, those who were in Tent City and camped there was around 3. They have been cleaning up Tent City and filling it. That dumpster's about 3/4 filled. I do notice that some volunteers have also gone down there and helped clean up that. When that is full, we're going to see where we need to go with the next step. But it is, if there's pictures that we have, and there has been some substantial progress made as far as that. I don't know if they're going to be able to get it all cleaned up, because obviously there's gonna be a time when we're probably gonna have to send some professionals in there to move some things. But overall, that's where we're at. It is posted, some has been chained. We do have to reinstall a chain down there, because the one that was there has been since removed. Not by the county, but we'll take care of that. And then it is being monitored by the sheriff on a weekly basis as he finds, and he has been documenting all of that.
Also, the trash removal, we're gonna have to go in and clean some of that up because they can't take like electronics, TVs and tires, they have to set them aside of the dumpster, so there's gonna be additional cleanup. And as far as Packard and coming all the way up into the Packard and dip, there's gonna have to be some cleanup there as far as illegal dumping. So. Okay,
That's
all right? Okay.
Well,